It's time to rendezvous with cassidoo. Ooh! Hello, everybody. Happy Monday and happy end of March. Time flew by. In case you are new here, my name is Cassidy, and this is the video version of my weekly newsletter where we go through web links of the week, stuff I did this week. There's practice coding, there's a joke, and more. That being said, let's get into it. So first of all, this quote from Lucille Ball. I love Lucy. I'd rather regret the things I've done than regret the things I haven't done. I thought this was a good one because you should do things. I think in my life, I have tried to be a yes person to say a lot of things, and granted, I should say no to more things and balance, but I like this quote because it is leaning on actually doing things and trying things and putting yourself out there. And we are going into conference season this month. I don't know about you, but in the dev advocacy world, it definitely starts to pick up around now. I'm speaking at 3 conferences in April, starting this week. So I have to work on my talks. But until then, let's go into the web links of the week. This first one about the great CSS expansion, I will touch on a little bit more later in the video, but CSS does a lot now. And this is really just kind of going through all of the different things that CSS can do now with just native HTML and CSS doing a lot of UI work. And it's really just exciting and powerful and really nice to see how far we've come as a platform. It's very easy to complain as developers about things being broken and things being messy, but we are in a nice place right now when it comes to web technologies, and I really liked this article kind of going through all the different things that you might have missed before. And this next article, continuing on the CSS train, is CSS refactoring with an AI safety net. This was an interesting one where it was mostly talking about visual regression testing, which has already existed in a pre-AI era, but it's also about taking that and then putting it into AI tools to be able to get action items based on the visual regression. And I thought that was a really interesting way to use the tool while still writing a lot of code yourself and cleaning things up yourself. It felt like a good balanced look. This next article, I'm biased because I work at GitHub, but I also love fonts. And this is a really interesting look at the work that went into the Monospace font. And in case you haven't seen it, there's 5 font families in this Monospace font. And I'm going to actually scroll down so you can see all of them together. But it's talking about the process that went into designing all of these fonts. And if you look at all of them with all of these different font weights, it's cool how they are like similar but different, and you could really mix and match them across a code base if you wanted and if you could set that up correctly. And anyway, I just loved the deep dive in this. And then finally, this one I shared because of nostalgia. I loved Roller Coaster Tycoon growing up. Best game. I still play it sometimes. It's so, so good. But this is just talking about how it's a gold standard of optimization because, in case you didn't know, I feel like it's just legend in tech now. The original creator of this game, Chris Sawyer, wrote the entire game in assembly, which is ridiculous. And because he wrote it in this way, it's portable, it's performant, it can be on all the different machines. There's remakes. There's so many cool things that have happened because of this game being built in such a way. And so you should definitely read this one. And then for something that interested me this week, I have a to-do app called To Do Meter. If you haven't seen it, it is open source. It's one that I've worked on forever. And if you had seen the commit graph on this before, you would see that this was last touched 4 years ago. The logo files were last touched 6 years ago. I first launched this app a long time ago, and I admittedly procrastinated editing it for a long time because it just worked and I didn't feel like updating it. But I'm now updating it, and it's been really fun because, and this is something that I referred to earlier, I ended up blogging about the styling choices that have led to this point in To Do Meter because now it is all native CSS. All of the things that I originally needed less for and then eventually Sass and moved to CSS modules needed post CSS, all of these different libraries, they were modern at the time. They did what I needed at the time, but now that CSS has modernized to this point, it's all native. And all the styles look the same to any user who would be messing with the app today. It looks exactly the same, but it's nice that I'm able to have my CSS variables, have my nesting, and it just works. So anyway, that's what this blog post is about. It's about that app there. I also wrote another blog post about yet another digital typewriter. Now, in case you've missed it in the past, I have what's called a microjournal. This is a digital typewriter. It's open source. This is 3D printed. I designed the keycaps, put it together. I have a blog post on this. But it's a really just fun, portable thing where I can write blog posts on it and then hit a key command and it goes to Google Drive. And I like it, but it's just big enough. You could see it in relation to my head, just big enough that it's not something I can always toss in a backpack or something. And so a few years ago, I backed something on Kickstarter called the BYOK, the BYOK, which is the bring your own keyboard. And this is what it looks like right here in this blog post. I did a little demo of it. I explained how it worked. And it's a fun device. I haven't used either of them a ton, but it's nice to kind of just draft ideas out there. It's nice to just have a device that does one thing really well and doesn't send me notifications, doesn't like give me hand cramps because it's a new form factor. It just works. And it's been really nice playing with both of these devices and kind of experimenting with when I can use each of them. And they're also both toddler proof, and that's something that I need in this phase of life right now. But anyway, that's what this post is about. It was a fun thing to try out, and you should blog more. And before we move on to the next section, next week is my newsletter's 9th year anniversary, which is crazy. And I always do a bunch of giveaways from companies, from developers, from various people who want to just give things away to the community. So first of all, make sure you open next week's issue and fill out the raffle form. It's a very basic form. And if you or your organization want to give something away to fellow developers, please let me know. You can respond in the comments, reply to the email, message me on social media. You should do it. There's already some cool prizes, and I'm excited to share with you next week. And now for our sponsor. Your engineers are building at warp speed, so why should auth be left behind? Dscope provides no-code, low-code workflows that decouple auth, access control, and user management from your app's codebase so your teams can focus on the core product. Customers are using Dscope to achieve incredible results. For example, Sequence Security reduced SSO-related support tickets by 90%. U.com shortened customer SSO onboarding times from weeks to 15 minutes. And Wisdom AI got their MCP server with auth up and running in a day and a half. Join over 1,000 organizations and begin your drag-and-drop auth journey with Dscope. Ad. And now for the interview question of the week. Last week I had you implement the BiTap algorithm. My example was wrong in it because it turned out my function that I wrote for the solution had an off by one error. So some of you caught that, some of you yelled at me. I'm sorry. I fixed it in the archive. But the ones who did figure it out, good job. This next one, I did not have an off by one error. This question is, you are given a file system represented as an object where keys are absolute paths and values are either null, like a real file or directory, or a string, which is a symlink to another path. So I want you to write a function that resolves the given path to its real destination following those symlinks along the way. This is a pretty fun one. I thought this was a very fun question. So definitely try it out. You can submit your answers here in the comments, or you can reply to the email or respond on socials, just like I mentioned before. And now for some cool things around the internet. This first one, ham radio. Honestly, I know I don't need a new hobby. I do not. But I read this one article that I can't find right now about just a love letter to ham radio and about amateur radio. And this person was so passionate about it. I went deep and I found this website called What is Ham Radio from the National Association for Amateur Radio. And it's really just cool. It's a hobby where people are just talking to people around the world, and sometimes they save lives. It's very interesting. It's technical. You can get a license for it. It's tempting. I will not be picking up another hobby, but it's fun to know about hobbies, and this is a cool one. Speaking of hobbies, this was also a really fun article where it's about this photographer's astrophotography in the movie Project Hail Mary, which just came out. I still need to finish the book, so I haven't seen the movie yet. But anyway, it's cool to see like how they got contacted by Hollywood, how it worked, and how all of their photography is actually real in the background of the movie. It's a really, really cool post. It's vulnerable, it's neat, and it's fun to see that they used some real visuals instead of just CGIing everything. This next one is a video, and it is about the Life Noble notebooks that are made in Japan. There's only 3 machines left in the world that make them, and really, I just love factory tours on YouTube. It's interesting to see how things are made, and these notebooks are very, very carefully made in these really cool machines and with humans painting glue on the edges, and I just really enjoyed this video. The keyboard this week is an Artifact Industries keyboard. What I liked about this album in particular is, first of all, any kind of green keyboard. I love it when people do green, but they also showed what the inside looks like when you take off the top case with the little housings that are great for not only holding on the top of the case, but also for sound dampening, these little things there. It's a beautiful keyboard all around. I really like this one. And finally, this last post, it really warmed my heart. And I wrote a post a few years ago now where it was talking about like human curation on the internet, and it's a very similar type of vibe to this post, and I'll drop that one in the description. But anyway, it's basically talking about how in the past you would surf the web and you could stumble upon different websites, follow links, and just kind of explore the internet and see what people had out there to show you. And the old internet still exists like that. It doesn't feel like it, especially when there's all these walled gardens of social media kind of keeping things on platforms, and algorithms are serving you what you want instead of you kind of go exploring and figuring out what you want. And it was just a really cool post because it kind of made me want to continue contributing to that old internet. My blog still exists, and I have posts from I think 2009 on it that I pulled in from different sources, and I think there's a lot of people out there who have that, and we should try to encourage that in each other. And finally, for the joke, I am so good at sleeping, I can do it with my eyes closed. I'm so tired. Anyway, have a great week. Be safe, make good choices, ask for help if you need it, because you could get unblocked or make a new friend. I hope you enjoy the end of your March, and I'll see you next week for the anniversary of this newsletter. Bye!